Developing this hour, surprise, despite all the arguing during the legislative session, it now appears that anyone in Georgia with a gun permit is allowed to take firearms on any public school campus.
How did that happen? Our Claire Sims is on the story. Welcome to On the Story. I'm Bill Nygett.
And I'm Bobby Batista. First up tonight, GPB has learned that licensed gun owners in Georgia may be able to carry firearms on school and college campuses. Lawmakers stripped that controversial provision from the so-called Guns Everywhere bill that was passed this session. But as GPB's Claire Sims reports tonight, the measure looks to have found new life in a separate law that goes into effect July 1st.
I don't think there can be any serious debate that that's what it says.
John Monroe is a member of the gun rights advocacy group GeorgiaCarry.org. He's also an attorney, and after reviewing a law set to go into effect this summer, he believes licensed gun owners will soon be able to carry guns on campus.
If a college student has a license, then it would allow the college student to carry on campus.
The change is not part of the so-called Guns Everywhere bill that lawmakers and Georgia Carry worked to pass this session. Instead, it's buried inside a bill about school safety zones. Under current law, schools are required to expel and report students to police if they violate the zero tolerance policy by bringing a knife, a gun, or any other hazardous object on campus. Sponsors designed House Bill 826 to give school administrators flexibility when punishing students who bring something dangerous to school. But lawmakers also expanded one of the law's exceptions. Right now, a licensed gun owner can carry their weapon onto school grounds when picking up or dropping off a student. Legislators voted to strike that language, meaning someone with a license can always carry a weapon into a school safety zone.
And what House Bill 826 did is change that to say, instead of when picking up or dropping off a student, it says when in a school safety zone, which is, essentially an exception that swallows the rule.
Attorney General Sam Olens is reviewing the new law and will likely be issuing guidance on the issue, according to a spokesperson. His office declined to explain further. But Monroe says he and Georgia Carry are already preparing for what he believes will be a legal fight over the law.
Here's the issue. Let's just say that the Attorney General comes out with an opinion this afternoon. I'm sure he wouldn't mention Georgia Carry, but he essentially says Georgia Carry's right. That's exactly what the law says. I still think it's entirely possible, if not probable, that some college, some university, some school district, somewhere in Georgia is going to say, I don't care what the Attorney General says, you can't carry guns here. It seems almost inevitable.
Monroe says litigation won't necessarily have to wait until after the law goes into effect on July 1st. He says Georgia Carry is prepared to file a lawsuit as soon as a school or college tells a student, faculty, or staff member that they cannot carry a gun onto school grounds. Bobby and Bill?
Claire, thank you for that really excellent report. Do we have any way of knowing whether this was engineered to provide this loophole, or in fact lawyers have now looked at the language and realized this is what it does?
Well, that's a good question. Nobody seems to know the answer to that question. I have tried to get in touch with Representative Ed Setzler, a Republican from Ackworth, who was the primary sponsor on this bill. I have not heard back from him. But when I talked to him way back in February during the legislative session, he did say that this had nothing to do with guns at the time.
So the interesting thing now, though, is it puts the onus on the Attorney General, on Sam Olens, to come up with a ruling one way or the other on this, yes?
Well, that's what it sounds like, although his office wouldn't give us too much more information than what you saw in the piece.
All right, Claire, terrific report. Thank you so much for being with us. Could have profound consequences in the race. Todd?
It could, and one other thing it highlights was the rushed atmosphere we had in the General Assembly this year. I think at this point the most uncomfortable things to say about this gun bill or possible gun bill is oops, or I didn't know it was in there.
And that's dangerous.
That's a big oops.
Do we make the assumption the governor knew what he was signing when he signed 826?
I don't think so. I really don't. I can't imagine that. I mean, no. I just really don't see that.
The thing is, there is not a satisfactory answer to that question.
No, there's not. That's what I was struggling with is that, you know, you don't want to say, well, did you read it thoroughly? Well, of course you did. And the intent of that bill was certainly honorable in that you didn't want a kid who took a peanut butter knife to school to spread peanut butter to be arrested and thrown out of school. But yeah, that little details matter, as they say.
Yeah, I just think that this is a national embarrassment for Georgia. I mean, here we are right now coming out of an unfortunate event at Virginia Tech to allow people access at a time where guns and people are just getting killed. It's just, to me, it's just crazy. It's just terrible. And I think that hopefully our Attorney General will do the right thing. But, you know, I think that we had a lot of people on the Republican side and the Democratic side have broad conversations about this bill. But I just think that it's terrible. I think 826 is terrible, 60. And I honestly think that people should, you know, it should be an outcry right now in Georgia about what this bill intends to do.
Okay, well, we'll have to watch. Virginia, do you want to weigh in on what Theron just had to say?
Well, I do. It's not really a faith and freedom issue, but just from a personal perspective, certainly criminals don't go by the rules. And so I like to see people be able to protect themselves.
Okay.
Wherever they are.
Okay, terrific.